Hey there, everybody. Shepherd Shang here, and this is another supplemental episode for Abyssalcraft is kind of awesome, because I forgot stuff. Again. Yeah, this is a supplemental for the mobs episode. So do you remember those anti-mobs I showed you? Yeah, I forgot something kind of important when I was doing that, and watch this. You see how that cow just died to the liquid antimatter? It turned into an anti-cow. Yeah, that's what happens when most normal mobs get killed by the liquid antimatter. They turn into anti-mobs, like what will happen with those pig and those depth ghouls. Now, by comparison, because the sheep has no anti-mob, if I can get it to flow right, it just dies. Yeah. And I'll demonstrate with this creeper too. And anti-creeper. Yep, that's how it works. I also forgot to show off the drops from the anti-mobs. I really should have. That was kind of dumb of me. So yeah, this is anti-plagued flesh, which comes from the anti-abyssal zombies. Anti-spider eyes from anti-spiders. Anti-rotten flesh. Rotten anti-flesh, I should say, from the anti-zombies. Anti-beef. Anti-chicken. Anti-pork. Anti-plagued flesh on a bone from the anti-depth ghouls. And anti-bones from the anti-skeletons. Let's see if I can get a drop from him. Anti-ghoul? Yeah. Anti-plague flesh on a bone. Now, fortunately for everyone's confusion, there is no anti-gunpowder. They just drop normal gunpowder. And now, what you can do with these? Well, you can't do anything with them in the overworld. You can't actually cook these things they won't turn into pork chops and steaks and cooked chicken and stuff. Here, we'll use NEI to show you. Recipe mode. Uses. Transmutation. You can transmute anti-chicken into cooked chicken. But what is transmutation? Transmutation is something you don't have yet. You can't get the stuff for transmutation until you get to the second dimension. So, yeah, that's not exactly useful. Rotten anti-flesh, again, you use that to make the potions of annihilation, which was showed off in the video about potions and enchantments. And you can also transmute it back into rotten flesh. Anti-bones, you transmute them into bones. Yeah. Again, you can't do anything with transmutation until the second dimension, so that's gonna get covered eventually. So you remember in the video about biomes? This one isn't mob related, it's just something I forgot to mention. I'm just going to put it in here because it got demonstrated. Remember how I said when a liquid antimatter interacts with other liquids, it does some odd stuff? And you see how there's this packed ice here in a swamp biome? Yeah. Oh, son of a... Well, that's also another good example for for what the liquid antimatter does to you. You can get those effects even if you're not really touching it. I was floating above it, and yet I still got the effects, so there's something to watch out for. So anyway, you've seen that the liquid antimatter has spread over an area that was water. Now let's clear it up, and boom, packed ice. Yeah, liquid antimatter transmutes, which is a good word that you should pay attention to, liquids from one form into another. So, another thing that I didn't show off because I forgot, is something that has to do with these guys, the Shoggoths. Shoggoths are hostile to peaceful mobs. Watch what happened to this sheep. It got one-shotted. How about a pig? Oh. The pig lasted more than one hit. But what about a creeper? Doesn't care. The Shoggoths will attack peaceful mobs, which only applies to the overworld because there, spoiler alert, there are no peaceful mobs in the other dimensions. Oh yeah, and the Shoggoths come in different sizes. And smaller ones like this can actually grow into bigger ones over time. They do have the same amount as health, no matter what their size is, just so you know. Here's an effective way to get rid of Shoggoths. Shoggoths are not immune to antimatter. They will die to it, and they'll die quick to it. If you can get some liquid antimatter, it's an effective way to clear out a Shoggoth layer. And fortunately for us, they don't turn anything when they get hit by liquid antimatter. Hooray! A couple other interesting things about the liquid antimatter. So, remember those anti-players I mentioned? Well, you get those to form by dying in liquid antimatter. Yeah. Anti-players form when player characters, whether it be you or if you're on a multiplayer server with some other player, falls in liquid antimatter, it spawns an anti-player. Now, there is one other interesting thing about the liquid antimatter that I did not know until I was testing this. I was thinking maybe anti-players might spawn from from villagers that end up in antimatter, but I was wrong. So, this is an interesting little mechanic that you can get some end game stuff a bit sooner. Here you go, villager. And what the villager becomes are these guys, the remnants. Ooh, yeah, they don't normally appear until you get to the third dimension. They are basically villagers. Oh, that's interesting. What was that? What is that? I've never... Shepherdshang Gotham Okyohan Necronomicon Gamanan Gaman Aklogarf. That's interesting. Can I get him to say some other stuff? Kakadishtu. That's normal clicking on him. And I'm guessing that the remnants will not interact with you unless you have a Necronomicon. And now he will trade. Yeah. Remember those coins I mentioned in one of the other videos? They're used for trading with remnants the way normal villagers would trade with for emeralds. Yeah. I didn't know about this, and this is genuinely pretty interesting. If you're willing to brave going to get liquid antimatter, which you will need to at some point, and you go to a village, you can get these guys to appear sooner. You can get them to appear in the overworld. I didn't know this. And these guys drop this item, the Eldritch Scale. Yeah, again, this is not something you wouldn't normally get until later in the mod. This was a genuine surprise. It's pretty cool. And a quick thing for you. What can you use the Eldritch Scale for? Ooh, the Abyssal Necronomicon. And another coin engraving. Rituals. And that's it. Yeah. Pretty cool. I don't know where this bone came from. I don't think it was there a second ago. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this supplemental episode. I think I've covered most of the important stuff I forgot. I just know I'm going to get some comments or something. Maybe I'll just think of it later on about stuff I forgot. I'm wearing a different armor, you might have noticed. This is another awesome armor that's also very difficult to get, that you won't get until the second dimension. Yeah. Look forward to that. And we're ending it here. Goodbye. Bloopers! You remember those anti-mobs? Yeah, I forgot something important with them. Watch this. Never mind.